So the problem that we are going to solve in this video is print all the leaders. So what is a leader? An element becomes a leader if it is greater than all the elements to its right. So the rightmost element is always a leader. Let's see with an example. So this is the example. The rightmost element is always a leader. It doesn't matter what number it is, because it doesn't have any numbers to the right of it, so it is always a leader. Then is 2 a leader? No, it is not, because the right element to the 2 is 5, which is greater than 2, so it is not a leader. But the 7 becomes leader because the 2 elements to the right of it are less than 7. Similarly, the 14 and 16 becomes leaders. But the 4, if you see 4 here, it is not a leader because there are elements which are greater than 4 to the right of it. Hence the output should be 5, which is the last element, 7, 14 and 16. So how we are going to find out what are the leaders in a programmatical way? So we are gonna start from the end of the array and loop through it in the reverse order. Let's start with 5. So it is the rightmost element, so it is always a leader. Hence it goes to the leaders list. Then we have 2 here. Let's assume this as max, the 5. Then we have 2. We compare the 2 with the max, so it is less than the max, so 2 is not a leader. Then we go to the 7. We compare it with the max, so 7 is greater than the max, which means 7 is also a leader. And these are the leaders list. Now we have the 7, 5 and 7. Max becomes 7 because it is greater than the previous max, so max becomes 7. Then we go to the 14 and we check if 14 is greater than max, which is 7. Yes, it is greater, so the max becomes 14, and we add 14 to the list of leaders. Then we come to 16 and check if it is greater than the max, which is 14. So 16 is greater than max, so it is added to the list of the leaders and max becomes 16. Then we go to the 4, which is the first element in the array, and we check it, compare it with the max, which is 16. 4 is less than 16, so it is not a leader. Hence we have the list of leaders here as 5, 7, 14 and 16. So let's write a code for this. So I'm gonna write a function, print leader, and the parameter for this function is array, and I'm going to check if array.length is less than 1. If it is less than 1, then I'm gonna return let's say -1, and let's declare the variables and variable max and assign it to the last element, which is array.length -1. And then so for this we are trying to do with the time complexity of big of n, because we are just looping through the array from in the reverse order just one time, so the time complexity would be big of n. and we just need to print all the leaders. We are not storing them anywhere, so we are not using any extra space. So the space complexity becomes big of 1, which is a constant. So first, the last element in the array will always be a leader, so we are just going to console it. Console.log the last element, array of array.length -1. Then we are going to start a for loop to loop through the array, and we are doing it in the reverse order. So the array starts, the loop starts at array.length -2, because we already consoled the last element, so we start with the element before the last element, and the termination condition would be I greater than or equals to 0, I minus minus, if we are going to check if array of I is greater than max. If it is greater, then we are going to print that print the element. So console.log array of I, and we need to change the max to the current highest number because it is higher than the max. So we are going to assign max with the array of I. So once we loop through all the array and we reach the termination condition when I becomes less than 0, we're just gonna return all the we don't have anything to return because we are just printing all the leaders, right? So we need to have one more bracket. Okay, so let's check this one with some example. Let's say for 17 7 4 3 2. Let's assume this as an example array that is given as input, and we check if array.length is less than 1. So it is not less than 1 because the array.length is 7. And then we declare max as the last element in the array, which is 2. Actually, let's take another example because I wrote all these numbers in the descending order. Let's take the same example as this one. 14 7 2 5. So the max becomes 5, which is the last element, and we are going to console the last element. Then let's write all the consoles here. We are going to console 5. Then the for loop starts here, and it's gonna start with array.length -2. So array.length is 6 for this, and 6 minus 2 is 4, which means the element 2. So we check I is 4, and when we check array of I, which is 2, is greater than max. Max is 5. It is not greater, so we're not gonna do anything. Then the I is decremented. I becomes 3. Then at array of 3, the element we have is 7, and we are going to check if 7 is greater than max, which is 5. It is greater than max. So we are going to console array of 5. In the consoles we get 7, and we are going to assign max with array of 5, which is 7. So the max becomes 7. I becomes decremented, which is 2. So now at array of 2 we have 14. 14 is compared with max and it is greater than the max. So the max becomes 14 and 14 is consoled here. I is decremented. Then at array of 1 we have 16. We check 16 with 14, which is max, and 16 is greater than 14. So the max becomes 16 and 16 is consoled into the console. Then I is decremented. It becomes 0. When the I becomes 0, the element at array of 0 is 4. And we check 4 with the max. So the max is 16 and 4 is less than 16. So we are not going to do anything because we don't have any code to do with the when we have array of 5 is less than max. Then I is decremented. So I becomes -1 and it does not match the condition. I should be greater than or equals to 0, but now the I is -1, so it is terminated. The for loop is terminated, and now we have all the leaders in the console. Hence the code works correctly and the time complexity is big of n, and we are not using any extra spaces. Thank you.